Hi, I'm Paul Edwards, author of the Mourner's Woods books, and first and foremost, a monster kid. Tonight I'm reading Famous Monsters of Filmland, issue 119 from 1975. I thought you might enjoy flipping through this vintage monster magazine with me. Together, let's see what kinds of monster kid goodness is in here. All right. Famous Monsters of Filmland magazine, issue 119. There's a couple of things about this cover. First, this is one of the few times that they didn't use their Famous Monsters font. It's not the only time, but it's one of the few times that they tried a different font. I can't say I'm a fan. I think their regular font is much better. I'm not sure why they did it this way. Okay, but the second thing is, let's take a look at these monsters that are pictured here. Let's see how much of a monster kid you are. Can you tell us what all of these monsters have in common? Do you see it? Okay. The answer is they're all from Hammer Films. All from Hammer Films. Curse of the Werewolf, Curse of Frankenstein, The Reptile, The Mummy, Christopher Lee as The Mummy, and of course, Dracula. And several different Hammer dinosaur films. And we are going to see a little bit of that in here. So let's get cracking. Oh, and this is September 1975. The cover price is an exorbitant $1.25. You know, every time I think I've seen all of the 1931 Frankenstein movie posters, I come across another one. Because the movie was re-released a bunch of times, and they would do different posters on different occasions. So there were just a ton of different ones. Rebecca of Sunnybrook Farm. I don't think so. Oh my gosh. Wow. The Boy Who Cried Werewolf. Yikes. All right, let's see what we're getting. Dinosaurs, monsters, The Hunchback. Ooh, Horror Hotel. Dracula flies again. When doesn't he? I wonder what the longest there's ever been between Dracula movies has been. It can't have been very long. It can't have been more than a couple of years. There's so many of them. Not all American or British, but I mean around the world. You ever see the Japanese Dracula movies, like Lake of Dracula and Evil of Dracula? I should do a video on those. All right, Karloff in the Magic Castle. There's Karloff with Forrest J. Ackerman, editor-in-chief of this magazine. Yikes. Got some mad science going in The Walking Dead. This is Karloff here. This is not The Walking Dead you're thinking of. This is the 1936 The Walking Dead. Directed by Michael Curtiz, if I remember right. Karloff it's one of those spooky crime movies that has elements of horror in it. Karloff's character is a petty criminal who's framed for and executed for a murder he didn't commit. And then, thanks to the efforts of a mad scientist, he comes back to life and gets vengeance on the gangsters who framed him. I still think Karloff's most evil character was this guy, this henchman in Tower of London. Although Janos in Invisible Ray was no treat either. The Man with Nine Lives is a kind of a weird one. In this, Karloff is a mad scientist who is experimenting with freezing a human being and reviving them later when medical science has caught up to their ailment or injury. And he accidentally gets frozen and revived years later. Of course, there's Karloff as Imhotep. Yeah. So Karloff hosted a TV series called Thriller. Nothing to do with Michael Jackson. Thriller, it was an anthology show, like Twilight Zone or Outer Limits, except it was more horror and crime stories. But he also acted in it. Not every episode, but he acted in that one. The Ape. I wonder who played a mad scientist more times, Karloff or George Zucco? No, wait. Karloff or Lionel Atwill? That's a tough one. There's Karloff as Fu Manchu in his one and only outing as Fu Manchu in The Mask of Fu Manchu, 1932. Okay, I have to admit, I had forgotten all about The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. But a film I have seen a million times is Black Sabbath, the film Black Sabbath, the Mario Bava 1963 horror anthology movie. Most people's favorite segment of this movie is The Wurdelak, which is a vampire story which features Karloff. Karloff also hosts the whole movie. My favorite segment, though, is still A Drop of Water, the one with the gypsy ghost, the gypsy queen's ghost that comes back for her stolen ring. Yeah. So, this is the mystery of Mr. Wong. It was conventional 90 or 100 years ago in Hollywood that Caucasian actors would be made up to look like characters of other races. It wasn't just that Karloff specifically was chosen to do this. This was a common thing back then. It would never be done now. So you can blame Hollywood, but you can't just point the finger at Karloff personally for that. It was common trade practice at the time. Night of the Blood Beast, the thing that hunted heads. Oh my gosh. Oh, Blood Beast. This is one of these movies that all I can think of is the Mystery Science Theater parody of it when I see it now. Steve, I thought you were Steve. Oh my gosh. Female hostage of the creature from Galaxy 27. Yikes. Looks like an axon from Doctor Who. Let's see. Oh. The fiery end of the X-100. The beast on the rampage. Meanwhile, we're getting the whole story of the movie here. You don't even have to go see the movie. You can just read it and look at the pictures. Okay, this is not a typo. The name of this movie is Dinosaurus. And you actually get 2 dinosaurs and a caveman in this picture. Honestly, the best part of this movie is when the caveman stumbles into a 20th century homestead and is bewildered by all the household items around him. It's pretty funny. Oh, brother. Tyrannopower sure knows how to make a Bronto soar. I wonder if they'll ever again do stop motion animation dinosaur or dragon type movies, or if CGI is just going to be the only way it goes now. This was the big climax of the picture. The what do you call it? Backhoe. The backhoe versus the Tyrannosaurus. Colossal creature contest. Is the contest colossal or are the creatures colossal? Or both? Oh my gosh. All right, this is a little too busy. You don't even know where to start looking. I guess Dracula, the she creature, Planet of the Apes. There's just so much in here, though. Yikes. The Hunchback of Notre Dame. This is the Lon Chaney Sr. version of The Hunchback of Notre Dame. If you've never caught this film, you can watch it on my Silent Horror Films podcast. I've got it up there, along with some other Lon Chaney Sr. films. This was one of his signature performances. This and Phantom of the Opera. Yeah, the quality of this picture is not great, is it? Really? They went with this? I would consider this picture unpublishable. This is bad enough with the blurry face, but come on. So can you fix that up? Look, see? These are fine. Oh, and of course we're getting a summary of the movie as we go along here. Oh gosh. What the heck is going on here? That doesn't look right. Okay, so this is James Cagney playing Lon Chaney Sr. in a movie about Lon Chaney Sr.'s life called Man of a Thousand Faces. And this is the part of the movie where Lon Chaney Sr. was playing the Hunchback. So this is James Cagney playing Lon Chaney playing the Hunchback of Notre Dame. Got it? Because I'm not saying it again. This is Anthony Quinn as the Hunchback. Okay, Horror Hotel. I've never liked the name of this movie because it doesn't capture the tone of the film at all. Not at all. Horror Hotel sounds like the name of a slasher movie. This is a spooky witch movie with a young Christopher Lee in it. And it's about, the first part of it is about a college student who goes to visit a backward town in Massachusetts because she's studying witchcraft lore from centuries ago, and she ends up being the victim of a ongoing witchcraft cult that's still operating in this town. And then the rest of the movie is her loved ones come to the town to try to rescue her. This is a nice spooky movie, and I love the ending of this one. By the ending, I mean the last act, not the last 2 seconds. What will Hammer do next? Unfortunately, this is what, 1975? Yeah. Unfortunately, the answer to this is stop making horror movies for about half a century. Very sadly. But don't worry, they'll make a big comeback with The Woman in Black. Dracula flies again. Well, unfortunately, this is Lon Chaney Jr. as Count Dracula. A casting decision that I just will never get over. It just doesn't work. Here's Lon Chaney Jr. as the Wolfman, which was great. Here's Lon Chaney Jr. as the Wolfman fighting Bela Lugosi as the Frankenstein monster in Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman. I know you probably know all of these, but younger monster fans might not, so it's worth pointing out. This is a publicity still from Son of Dracula, the one and only time, thankfully, that Lon Chaney Jr. played Dracula. Man-made monster. Nice. Okay, you asked for it. Reader requests. Can you name this movie? That's from Dracula, Prince of Darkness. Oh, you better know what this is. Of course, a Dalek from Doctor Who. Of course, the Phantom Creeps, Bela Lugosi. Yikes. Double yikes. The Human Monster. Well, I won't spoil the secret to this, just in case you have never seen this movie and want to. I won't spoil the secret. It's worth catching. It's worth catching. Yikes. Oh, you can get some Dracula paperback novels. Dracula Returns and The Hand of Dracula. Dracula's Brothers, Dracula's Gold, The Drums of Dracula. Drums of Dracula? Yeah, think about that. Apes, The Kingdom of Kong. Oh, nice. I don't remember this. Look, you can get the Killer Gorilla and the Komodo Dragon. I wonder if they're from the same manufacturers as the Aurora dinosaur ones, because I had almost all of these, and I don't even remember those two. Glow-in-the-dark paint by numbers. Remember paint by numbers? Plenty of Planet of the Apes merch. Oh, gigantic insect hobby kits. I have one of these, the mantis, that's it. The one I always wanted, though, was the giant tarantula destroying the power station. But they all look good. Here, let's ask this. Okay, so these model kits, they recapture the vibe of giant bug movies of the 50s, right? So there was a rampaging scorpion one, colossal tarantula, gigantic wasp, huge mantis. Now, can you name an actual 1950s giant bug movie for each of these? Because they all were in movies. Okay. Rampaging scorpion, of course, the black scorpion. Colossal tarantula, there were a couple of. Most people probably would think of the movie Tarantula, but also you would get credit if you said Earth versus the Spider, released in some markets just as the Spider. Huge mantis. Do you know a movie with a giant deadly mantis? Yep, the deadly mantis. You got it. And gigantic wasp was in Monster from Green Hell. So there really were monster movies with each of those. Nice. Oh, Straight Jacket. I was talking about that recently in another video. That's a somewhat overlooked horror film with Joan Crawford. That's a good one. It's sort of like a proto-slasher movie from, I think it might have been 1962 or something. So it's not a proper slasher film, but it's got a lot of the outline of a slasher movie in it. Ooh, 5 monster games. Monster masks and hands. Also feet. Because what's a monster without claws? Sometimes when you see old copies of FM like this, you'll see that the kid who owned it before you like circled the ones that he had or the ones that he wanted. Oops. Save your monsters. Oh boy, they sure left you plenty of room to list your orders. Oh, here's the picture from the cover, see? This. 1975 Famous Monsters Convention, featuring a Monsterific all-color Hammer Films Festival. That explains why we got all Hammer here without a whole lot of Hammer in the articles. It's because they were plugging this. I don't know, man. Should we go? The Lost Continent. Why would you put the human characters big here and then little bitty bits down here show the dinosaurs? I don't understand that at all. Wouldn't you want the monsters big? You would want the monsters big and the people little, I would think, in your poster. But what do I know? Listen, if you enjoy classic monsters and vintage horror, you should check out my book series, the Mourner's Woods books. I've written a series of novels set in a haunted forest with different monsters in each book. I'll drop a link in the description to this video. My books, again, are the Mourner's Woods books. My name is Paul Edwards. Thanks for spending some time with me looking through Famous Monsters of Filmland, issue 119. I'll see you in Mourner's Woods.